So anyways, this is a pretty cool one. Yeah, so yesterday I was spending time with some people. And this one person is they're not very happy. And well, their happiness goes in and out, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people where they have happiness come in, happiness goes out, suffering comes in, suffering goes out. Their life is like a gigantic roller coaster. They have these highs and lows. They have extreme happiness, and then they plummet down to suffering, and they can be mean to others. They may not be nice. They cannot be compassionate. These type of things, and there are bipolar people out there, that have these extreme highs and extreme lows. Sometimes, for bipolar people, it could last for weeks, months. But for people that are just, considered, the average, the main people, if they feel unloved, or if they have trauma from the past, or if they're unhappy, or if they're unfulfilled, or if their life does not seem right, things aren't quite right in their life. These people could be very mean to other people, be very hurtful, be very unloving. Now, yesterday, I dealt with somebody like that. So, this morning I was on my floor cooking, as I always do. I'm actually still cooking right now on my floor. Represent. Broccoli. So, with one pepper in there. Small pepper. So I was cooking this morning on the floor about an hour and a half ago. And I wrote something down that I already threw away because I already added it to my book. And it pretty much just said that, when you're unhappy and when you're hurting inside, it's very hard for you to be loving towards other people, and it's very difficult for you to have compassion towards other people. And then I further went on to say that one of the main problems in the world right now is that people are not very understanding towards each other. They're not very compassionate towards each other. And they're not very loving towards each other. Unless the people are considered a part of themselves, their family, their children, their mother, their father, their grandparents, their best friends. But if it's not in the realm of feeling like this person is you or connected to you, and it's just some random person you see in the grocery store, your love or your compassion is not going to go out to that person in the grocery store most times. Your love and your compassion is going to stay with the people that you see as yourself or as an attachment to yourself. Family, friends, best friends. So that's the biggest problem in the world. One of the biggest problems in the world. And, the fact that we're not loving towards other people we don't consider ourselves, or we don't have compassion for people that are not considered ourselves, family, best friends, things like that. We separate ourselves from others. It just seems kind of natural. Or we don't understand them. Or we don't have compassion for them because they're not one of us. Which leads to fear, war, not understanding someone, so we start to dislike that person. I was at a bus stop yesterday, and there were these 3 kids at the bus stop. They were Haitian children. And one was about 16 or 17. He was a boy. And the other 2 were 2 girls. They were probably like 9 years old and 12 years old. And they were talking Haitian. And they were very loud. And their language seemed very aggressive. And I wasn't really looking at them. But I was observing, just by tonality, they weren't in a very good mood. They were very kind of pissed off. It didn't seem like they were really happy to be with each other. When I first came up on them, I was just like, hey guys, how's it going? And they were just like, and the 16-year-old boy said like, hey. And then and the bus stop is right next to a pizza place. So I was like, oh man, like it's so hard not to be hungry coming up to this bus stop. You always want pizza. And the boy was very serious, and he was just like, and he kind of just like looked down, and you could just tell he just didn't want to talk. And he was fluent in English because he lives in America. He just didn't really want to talk. So I just sat there. And before the bus came, he stood up, and I noticed him stand up. And he was wearing, like a silver chain, these high top sneakers. I think they might have been, I don't know if they were Nikes or Adidas or something like that. And he had on a baseball jersey, and I thought about how I did it when I was younger too, but we tend to just fall into this societal pattern of being accepted or fitting in or wanting to fit in. And certain groups have their different styles. And I think that separates us quite a bit, where we don't understand each other, or we don't really like looking at each other, judge each other, or label each other, even what clothing we have on. And then I thought, how we were raised differently, conditioning. And then I thought about later that night, I was at a gas station with my niece and my sister. And this person next to us was playing this rap music. And it was talking about all these things that this person was going through, dealing with having a daughter, and I guess not really being ready to have a daughter. And then I thought about how for so many people, they have to be so serious because they're in such a state of survival. Times are not cool for some people. And then I thought about my book and how my book is pretty much geared towards white people. Because I don't understand what it's really like to be in that kind of environment. I mean, I've had students in that environment, taught at Title I schools where most of the kids were from the ghettos, and they couldn't afford breakfast, so we would have to feed them breakfast at school because their family couldn't afford feeding them 3 meals a day. And I've had, African American or black students and people with real hard times and problems. But for the most part, I don't understand their life. when I was hearing this rap music, at the same time another person pulled up in their truck and they got out of their car and they looked extremely like they had like an aggressive walk. And I was like, the world is changing and evolving so much. It's like survival for so much people, where they just can't be and be loving and be happy because they're afraid of getting squished. It's not all love and peace and happiness for most people, you know. It's about survival and what you have to do to survive and not get killed. So sometimes you have to play this role or become this character that's very hard, walks very hard, seems very hard. And that's a lot of what's going on in the world right now, especially in the ghettos, poverty areas. It's not all fun and peachy, you know. You know, here I am living this simple, peaceful, loving, blah, 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 da, da, da life. But so many people out there are going through like real struggles. Not just in their home, but just surviving on the street. They're in schools where it's just real bad in their school. You know, stabbings and fights in the bathroom, stuff like that. When I said to my niece, I'm like, sometime a completely different world comes out at night. You don't really see it in the daytime. As soon as it gets dark, you see it. You see the hardness. So yeah, when you're unhappy or when you're hurting inside, it's very hard to have love and compassion towards others or accept other people. When you're in that state of survival and you're just fighting for your life and you don't feel love, you're just trying to survive, it's very hard to be loving and allow yourself to just drop the character and stop being hard. I was at the bus stop the other day and I was just sitting there and I was looking at these trees. I was just like in the present moment. And this kid walks by me and he's got this hard walk, like shaved head, tattoos all over him. And he's got like, you know, dragon pants and he's just like got this hard walk. He's like a white kid. And just outside of my town, there's really bad ghetto districts. And I was like, that kid is doing what he needs to do just to survive, just not to get the crap kicked out of him. So he most likely developed this character, this hard character, throughout his life, so nobody would beat the crap out of him, or he would be accepted, or he would fit in, but mostly just to survive, so he wouldn't get the crap